What I'm going to show you guys right now is a different way of peeling plantains, because all this time what I've been doing is that I'll take off both ends. I want to say about maybe like an inch or so on both ends. You want to have just a little bit of the inside part, left over in there. That's no big deal. Now when you're making a cut, the easiest way to peel a plantain is to make a cut into the skin, not going all the way down to the flesh, but just until the skin ends, and then just take it down the length of the plantain, and then do it on the other side. So you're not going all the way down to the flesh, you're actually just being very superficial about your cut. So like if you do go too deep, you're probably going to end up taking out too much of the plantain flesh. Now what I used to do is that I would either try to take my fingernails or I would try to take my thumb and like kind of jam it into that crack somehow. As you can see, you can barely even see that crack. It's tiny, it's teeny, it's a pain in the butt to get your hands into, and eventually what happens is that your fingernails get all disgusting. So what I started doing first was that I would take the back of my knife, and the dangerous part about that, you saw how it slipped really fast? If I came back by mistake, I would have sliced my finger, and that's not very good. This is a very, very sharp knife, so I kind of don't want to be playing around in pokey, finicky places like that. So what I did instead was that I got a dinner knife. Regular standard dinner knife. This one's got like really mild serrations over there, but like I can, cut away, not going to do anything. However, when you slip it underneath the plantain skin, you just kind of want to wiggle it between the plantain flesh and the skin, and when my husband sees this technique, he's going to flip because how easy it is to take off the skin now, and you're not destroying your fingernails all the time. Like you see how it's coming off in these like big giant chunks. If I were doing this by hand, this would be such a drag to do. It's so much faster. Now see these tiny little bits left over? All I have to do is take that same dinner knife and then just like flick them off, and they come right off. It's so easy to do. So, and the neat thing is because this one has those little striations, if I missed any pieces of skin, I can actually go back and clean it up real nice, like so that it doesn't stay back on the flesh. And now I have a real neat, clean, pretty plantain done in no time flat, and my fingernails are saved. And yes, there are going to be a couple of little bumps on there, but it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to serve this whole. I'm actually going to chop it up and do stuff with it. So let me do one more just to show you how this is done. Start by taking off as little as you can on either end. And again, you want to go so that you're not piercing all the way down to the flesh, you're just piercing the skin, and then take it down the length of the plantain. See how my knife is not digging all the way in? You want to be very ginger about that and make sure that you're just going down the length of the plantain. Then flip it around to the other side. Do the same thing. Again, you're not piercing the flesh, you're just staying on the surface of the skin. Then take your dinner knife and start to finagle it right there, like just move it back and forth, and the skin will actually start popping off. And if I want to make it faster on myself, I'll actually do this moving back and forth motion on both sides, all the way down the length of the plantain, so that I can easily slip my 4 fingers underneath there, and these big, giant pieces of skin just start coming off in very, very easy pieces, and they're not shredding. See, the problem is that I was lazy when the plantains first came into the house, and what I did was that I chucked them into the fridge. What I should have done is process them as soon as I got them into the house, because that's when the skin is at its peak of ease of removal. So what you want to remember is that when you get plantains into your house, you want to process them as fast as you can so that the skin doesn't have a chance to cling. Now you see how this one has 3 neat little points going down the sides of the plantain. So what I want to do here is that I'll actually take advantage of that, and I'll go at the apex of the point and take my knife down. And this will actually be a guide for me so that I don't go too deep into the plantain itself. I'm not even going to bother following it up on the other side because you saw how quickly that thing came off. I don't even have to bother. The reason that you do it on both sides is because your fingers can't get too much of a grip when it's just your fingers. But like you see how the skin is sticking on very tenaciously. That's not a problem, because what you do is that if you can't get it off, you just pick up your dinner knife and go finagle, slip, and it comes off. This is so much easier than just using your fingers. So, if you do get a chance to get good quality green plantains, go ahead and process them either the day that you get home or very soon afterwards. These have been sitting in the fridge for a couple of days, and that's why the skin is clinging so tightly to this thing. If I hadn't been so lazy, this wouldn't have been such a pain in the butt to do. However, I have guests coming over tomorrow, so I'm not going to take any chances, and have this quote-unquote long process. I am very happy that I came up with this technique because now I hope that it'll encourage you to eat more plantains and include them into your diet. When I have my nice, neat little plantains like this, I can either, dice them or slice them into slices or do whatever I want with it. It's very, very easy to use now that I have them in this shape. So see how there's these little bits of skin that are left over? Just flick it right off with that dinner knife and it comes right off. Nice and clean. Mind you, the skin is edible, but if you want to use it in a fairly quick cooking dish, you want to take the skin off so that it doesn't become too tough. The skin is fairly fibrous. If I can sort of break that apart for you, like you can hear the fibers, ripping apart. It's a very, very fibrous product. It's very, very high in fiber. However, and it is edible, but I just didn't feel like using the skin in this particular dish. So hope you give it a try. Comment me and tell me what you think about it.